Show on 1010XL 92.5 FM.
All right, welcome in. The new drug today is a middle-of-the-week installment of the program. Bill Belichick going to the college realm, it would appear.
Wow.
Not done yet, but it looks like that's where he's headed.
Stunner.
What is it? What do you make of that?
I hope Netflix gives North Carolina whatever they want to make that the next big documentary, because they need to do a full year of Belichick's inaugural season with North Carolina. It does seem like the reporting is that the deal is very close. Again, I am surprised that obviously he had zero NFL interest. I think this is, and really, to be honest, I think it's kind of sad. I mean, this is a coach that I really admire. I mean, Bill Belichick is arguably the greatest coach, of my lifetime. And I've had an opportunity to interview him a few times for like conference calls back in the day where if the Jaguars were playing the Patriots, they'd put you on the phone with the head coach. And on a couple of occasions, I was like the only reporter that was on it. And he was always very knowledgeable, very thorough, very nice to deal with. And obviously watching his teams throughout the year, I mean, he's one of the most gifted defensive minds that we've ever seen. But it saddens me that this is what it's come to, because I think this is going to be Willie Mays almost wondering if he'll be able to put a team together.
I think I saw somewhere, maybe you're the one who told me that his final close, his closing pitch to sign a guy will be, all right, you little prima donna, you coming or not?
Right. Yeah, he's not going to butter you up.
Isn't that it?
Yeah, right. and I just don't know.
Listen, I got a bunch of Super Bowl rings. You coming? I don't really care if you come or not. You know what? And tuck your shirt in.
Yeah.
I think that's how he's going to recruit.
I agree, and I just don't know that you've still got to have, yes, it's a transactional sport now, but you still have to have the ability to connect with high school kids. And if you're a 17-year-old, when was Belichick's last big moment for you? When you were 13? Because he was terrible for his last few years with New England, and he's been now out of the league for a year. So is a 17-year-old going to really connect and remember what Belichick was at the height of the Patriots dynasty?
The girl, the recruiting, the Katie Turner of North Carolina, the director of recruiting, goes, "Hey, coach, you need to send Willie a snap." Okay,
right?
How's that going to go?
Yeah, not good.
How's that going to go over?
Yeah,
hey, you got to send Joey a snap.
Yeah,
how's that going to happen?
And again, it's at a school that doesn't have the resources. At least it doesn't put the resources to football like many elite teams do. So could it work if Belichick was at like Ohio State? Probably, because if you gave him $20 million, then the lack of recruiting chops would probably not be a big deal. He's never really worked in college football. I mean, this is a man who's been in the NFL since the Giants were winning Super Bowls in the 1980s as Parcells' defensive coordinator. He will outcoach the guy across the sideline from him 99.9% of the time. I have no doubt about that. But in terms of actually building a team and convincing young people to play for him at 72 years old, I think it's going to be an absolute disaster.
After 1 year, I want to be on the spring booster speaking tour in High Point. When the High Point booster goes, "Hey, coach, why'd you go for it on fourth down there?" and watch Belly take a swing at him. Can I be there for that?
Absolutely.
How's that going to go?
Yeah.
How's that going to go when Joe the booster says, "Hey, coach, why didn't you punt there?"
Right. It's not well, would be my guess.
I can't wait to watch it.
The thing too that's so sad about it is, so North Carolina opens their season against TCU. So that'll obviously get a lot of fanfare if it in fact is Belichick's first game as a college head coach. But it's sad, like North Carolina doesn't play Florida State or Miami next year, so we won't really get a chance to see him in a game against a team that we care about. I think it's going to be, he'll do it for a year and realize this is absolutely not what I want to do, and I think he'll move on, and I think it's going to be, again, I think he'll outcoach the opponent, but it won't matter if you've got a bunch of guys that really shouldn't be playing major D1 football, and I just do not think elite players with options are going to choose to work under Bill Belichick.
So you think he's probably a better sideline coach than Dabo Swinney?
Yes.
But you think it won't help when he's down 45-3 in the third?
Yes. When Dabo has the best 25 players in the game, I think it's going to be hard.
That'll make it hard. So.
Yeah.
All right, we'll talk a little bit about that. I got a lot of things to get to today on the program. I want to talk about Aaron Rodgers, the greatness of Aaron Rodgers. Is it a big deal that we get to see Aaron Rodgers maybe one last time here in Jacksonville? I think that's something we're talking about today on the program. And we will tell you more about the Belichick and what seems to be the holdup, at least what we're reading and hearing. We'll certainly get to that. JJ, I want to talk a little bit about the Canes today. I kind of glossed over it yesterday. I'm going to talk. We got the Duval count. We got the State Farm College Football Report coming up today. And I'll make this point to Joe Zagacki. I'm JJ, and I'm not a fan of Miami, but I don't hate them either. I just watch them. Miami disappeared too quickly this year. Does that make sense? They had this really good team. They could hang 40 on anybody. They lost 2 games by 6 points, and now nobody even talks about them. And at least Alabama, people are still talking about how they didn't get in. South Carolina, JJ, do you feel that way at all? Does that make sense?
Well, that's because they're SEC teams.
Yeah, and I get it, but you're right.
That's it.
I guess that is it. But I just, you know what I mean, Hayes?
I was shocked that it fell apart.
It's like people forgot it. Well, you're shocked that they lost the game, but I'm talking about not just that. It's not just the losing the game. Look,
they were not part of the debate to get into the playoffs.
Yeah, they were never, and they've not been part of a debate since. I mean, that was a really good season, a fun season. They threw it all over the place.
Cam Ward's odds to win the Heisman went crazy down after they lost to Georgia Tech. Yeah. To me, inexplicably, because he had nothing to do with any of the 2 losses.
Right.
They just were out of the national conversation. I'm not surprised. The SEC runs conversation
you're right.
on ESPN, and that's what people watch.
And I guess you're right, but I mean, this isn't Kansas State that just had a big year. It's the Canes.
Well, the Canes haven't been good, and
you're right. And maybe I'm an old guy that missed the generation where they weren't. I just anyway, just for me,
I was surprised that it hasn't been more of a storyline because it looked like, and I'll say this, and obviously JJ I think falls into this. It also doesn't feel like there's a lot of devastation, and maybe that's because they were relevant for 85% of the season. But boy, that last 15%, it looked like, Miami was certainly going to at least make the ACC title game and make the playoff. And, maybe Cam Ward was going to win the Heisman and maybe you were going to make a deep run and win a national title. And it feels like it just disintegrated awfully fast.
I guess that's
2 out of your last 3.
Yeah.
Right. That's how you remember the season. Usually
right.
Everyone's like a prisoner of the moment. So you can't lose your last game. People are just write you off forever because of that.
And the reality is, even though Tech beat them in a 28-23 game, they played with fire all year with that defense. And I know that. Yeah. I mean, they had a controversial play at the end of the Virginia Tech game, and Virginia Tech scored 34 on them.
And I said after the Florida game, this is a team that's not, the depth isn't there. They're going to lose 2 games. Yeah, and everybody's nah, there's no way. I mean, look at the schedule. It's that's not how it works.
You had the curse of knowing your team better than others.
And Georgia Tech is good. Louisville's good. Syracuse is good. People don't watch those teams, but they're just they're in the ACC. They suck.
You're right.
No, they don't suck.
Yeah, and by the way, I'm as guilty as anybody of that. But I mean,
Georgia Tech should have beat Georgia. Syracuse has the best yardage-wise quarterback in the entire nation. Louisville, we'll see what they do in a bowl game, but they've been on and off most of the year. But they destroyed Clemson.
Louisville's a tough team. They're well coached. And Rom does a great job.
And Florida's a great team. Right.
And to that end, in retrospect, those teams are better than you thought. But they allowed 34 to Virginia Tech. They allowed 38 to Cal. They allowed 45 to Louisville.
That's what I was saying. With this defense, they could never be undefeated in that schedule with those teams. It was never going to happen.
And then I think that, and maybe one of the reasons people aren't lamenting them or talking more about them is the fact that some people thought they were living on borrowed time anyway because of that.
Right.
Because it's not like they blew out everybody and then lost their 2 games. So anyway,
I was in that camp. I'm just like, wow, every week when we're like marking a W, I'm like, whew, I can't believe we got away with that one again. I knew it was happening.
I would have loved to have seen them in.
Oh, that'd have been
absolutely.
Because they'd have put 40 on anybody.
Yeah, I mean, they'd have been so much fun.
Oregon might have beat them 56-42.
Yeah,
but it would have been the most fun game in the tournament.
And they would have. And
it would have added some legitimacy. This is a tournament where Boise State is your 3 seed. I mean, get out.
Well, that's the other thing is when you get one of these tournaments, which is why it will go to 16, you need brands in it. It's okay to I would feel not as bad if Boise State wound up representing 3 of my 16 teams. Boise State, Indiana, and Arizona State represented 3 of my 16 teams, not 3 of my 12 teams. Not 25% of the field. I think that's part of it as well. So certainly as we move along, we'll talk more about. But Miami versus whoever would be a heck of a game.
Yeah, they would have out-athleted Indiana.
Yeah, right.
I don't care what.
They would have beaten Indiana 56-34.
That's what I'm saying. I don't care how bad their defense is. They would have out-athleted Arizona State. I believe that.
So it's interesting that they're all right. So we're going to talk about that coming up on the program. Brett Hastings is going to be by in a little bit. I want to ask Brett about this whole NIL contract thing. How enforceable are they? Are we going to start seeing lawsuits? The Rashada thing we saw, but nothing like that has reared its head since then. So certainly when we do Sports and Courts, that comes up today on the program. Our State Farm College football report comes up later on as well. The NCAA basketball tournament trying to expand.
Yeah.
And I'll bet that's going to happen.
Sure.
And it's only either 4 more teams or 8 more teams. I think you're going to wind up seeing that happen. We'll talk a little baseball. I'm interested in where Luke Kromenhoek winds up. And we'll talk about that. And I got another thought or two. You and I talked off air about the Jack Pyburn saga and where that thing now may need to land, and we'll certainly talk about that. So we got a lot to do on the program. So we're glad you're with us on this Wednesday. Our Wednesday is always brought to you by Ricketts Electric. If you need help with your electric, whether it's commercial, whether it's a residential, nobody does a better job than our friends at Ricketts Electric. They're the best in the business. This is 1010XL and 92.5 FM.
The Frangie Show from the Harold and Harold studio. Don't settle for less than you deserve.
Frank Frangie here. These days, it's hard to know which companies to trust. But when it comes to banking, I trust South State Bank. South State truly values its customers, and they work hard to create meaningful, lasting relationships. I love going into my local branch. I see the same smiling faces I've seen for years. South State is the largest bank headquartered in Florida, so they're able to offer all the banking services you need. You can trust South State Bank. Banking forward. Member FDIC, equal housing lender.
Let's go, defense! A good-looking defense does more than protect your zone. It can enhance your home. Hey, this is our house! This is our house! After the game, catch the superior fence and rail defensive player of the game on 1010XL.
Yo, what's happening, fellas? It's your boy E to the T, and I'm going to keep it real. We could all benefit from a little something extra in the bedroom. Blue Chew can help, and I'm about to tell you how you can get some for free. Blue Chew is an online service that delivers the same active ingredients as Viagra and Cialis, but in a chewable form and at a fraction of the cost. No doctor visits, no waiting in line at the pharmacy. Blue Chew ships right to your door in a discreet package. Not even them nosy neighbors gonna know what's going on. Blue Chew's licensed medical providers work with you to find the right ingredients and strength for your prescription. And did I mention the chewable? Just like popping a Mentos. And they're made right here in the good old US of A. Now you're asking, how do I get my Blue Chew? Visit BlueChew.com and make sure to enter promo code 1010XL at checkout. Try it for free and just pay $5 shipping. Turn that oh no into a oh yeah. That's right. Use promo code 1010XL and let your boy hook you up with some Blue Chew. Get your confidence back. Visit BlueChew.com.
This is Hays Carlyon for Harold and Harold. I was at lunch with my good friend Holt, and he was telling me that sometimes a lawyer can get more from a case than their own client. I was surprised to hear this, but Holt said that doesn't happen with Harold and Harold. They'll never take a fee that is greater than their own client. When they say they treat their clients as a person and not a file, they mean it. Hopefully you won't need them, but if you're ever injured, call Harold and Harold at 904-251-1111. That's 904-251-1111.
Frank Frangie here for Stanley Pools. You know, pool design has come a long way, and if your pool is outdated, Stanley Pools specializes in bringing older pools up to date for the whole family to enjoy.
That's why I did it a few years ago. And man, I love the way my pool looks now after we added travertine pavers and so much else. Stanley Pools has been serving our community since 1988. So call them today at 269-7277 or find them online at StanleyPoolsFL.com. That's Stanley Pools, a family tradition of fine swimming pools.
Here's Linda Beaver.
Have you heard? Beaver Toyota and Beaver Chevrolet are aiming to sell 1,000 vehicles this December. How? I've told my team to take all reasonable offers. We won't lose your business over price. With thousands of cars, trucks, and SUVs on the ground, all priced to sell, we guarantee the most money for your trade and the easiest car buying experience ever. I promise we ain't leaving nothing on the table. This is the absolute last weekend. Visit Beaver Toyota in St. Augustine or Beaver Chevrolet in Jacksonville. We're here to wow you.
Hey, Florida drivers, the holiday season is upon us. When celebrating, always plan ahead and know all your options. If you drink, don't get behind the wheel. Instead, designate a sober driver or catch a ride service. And if you are the designated sober driver, commit to staying sober. Besides, a DUI could cost you $10,000. Not exactly the best gift you could give yourself. Celebrate responsibly and remember to drive sober or get pulled over. This message brought to you by the Florida Department of Transportation.
What to get, friends, family, and loved ones this holiday? Prosser here. Listen to the drill now through Christmas to win gifts from our holiday gift guide sponsors. Each winner eligible to win a grand prize of $1,000 in jewelry from Beard's Diamonds.
Hey, y'all. Melissa Scobie here. And you know my husband, Josh, could really kick that ball. But when it comes to working around the house, well, not so much. So when I need irrigation, drainage, or seamless gutters, I rely on John Haney's crews at Clearwater. Hit it, guys.
Clearwater Irrigation.
And drainage, too.
ClearwaterJax.com.
Florida's weather is unpredictable. Don't let the Epic Chill catch you off guard. For reliable heating services, call Epic Cool Heating and Air. Keep your home cozy all season long. Call 904-859-EPIC. 904-859-3742.
Hey, Jacksonville, I'm sure by now you've seen our bright green GFL trucks and containers throughout the greater Jacksonville area. We are an industry leader in solid waste and would love the opportunity to earn your business. We are committed to customer service, reliability, and have unwavering focus on safety. Whether commercial or construction, let us haul your waste away. Call 904-760-5880 to get a quote today. GFL, green for life.
Ever wonder how you can transform your living spaces into captivating works of art? At First Coast Lighting and Fans, they offer a huge selection of high-quality products to match your desire for elegance, quality, and uniqueness. Visit their showroom on Phillips Highway at the Avenues and step into a world of quality without compromise. Discover the difference that locally owned expertise makes and let them help you experience the transformation from average to extraordinary. At First Coast Lighting and Fans.
Mark Watson here to tell you a little bit about hardballcreative.com. It's your online promo haven with thousands of ideas on how to promote your company. We're open 24/7, 365.
Hardball Creative. Hardball does it all.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
Now time for Sports and Courts, legal issues in the sports world with Brett Hastings from the Hastings Injury Law Firm. Hit back with Hastings.
Brett Hastings is here. Talking a little sports and courts. I want to get all into this contract stuff. How you doing?
Doing great.
The congratulations again on last Friday.
Well,
I thought you guys. I thought we're honored to be part of that toy drive. Good time I get to spend with you and Sarah Alford from Big Brothers Big Sisters. I thought it was as robust and exciting, and I say that every year, but it was fantastic.
Well, don't thank me. You know, it takes everybody coming in and participating, and the participation this year was incredible.
Really
I mean, yeah, like we were saying, you know, they're so good with logistics, Big Brothers Big Sisters, so they help to load it up, and then they take it back to their facility.
Right.
They were into a whole nother room this time, and quite frankly, we were out of cars, you know,
Right.
and everything else, and that several of the husbands of some of the people that work with the with Big Brothers Big Sisters, they were loading up their trucks and everything else. So thank you to everybody.
At the end, and we could see, but before it even started,
Hays and I were like 3:30.
At 3:30, half an hour before the show started, it was packed.
Well, we had
with toys. I mean,
we had all those tables set out. What I didn't realize is up under the tables, they were literally, loaded from the ground all the way up. Yeah. It was incredible, and the quality of the toys. People really spent some money. They really got some nice stuff. They really got things that these kids are gonna absolutely love. So yeah, thank you to everybody. You try to give me too much credit. The coolest thing about it is everybody brings in one or two things, and together there's 600 or 700 things there. Yeah. And so it really is a collective effort.
I agree.
We kind of have the idea, and we give a cool place to come out and to do it, but we don't do anything. It's a collective effort. So yeah, from the bottom of my heart, thank you to everybody that did it, and to all the people that drop off toys before the event,
so many
who walk in and out and all of that.
Right.
So
they came in, they say hello, they do it. So it was a great success, and a lot of kids are going to have a great Christmas because of that. So I agree with you, Brett. I'm still going to give you credit because it was your brainchild and you worked so hard at it. But you're right. Thanks to everybody that participates because it's a great thing. All right, I want to get into this today in sports and courts. All these, you see what's happening now. Season ends. Now the NIL money goes. These teams agree to dollar figures with their players, and I can tell you. I mean, I can tell you 3 or 4 schools. I know the numbers.
Now the teams don't.
Yeah, well,
that's the big issue.
Well,
right?
The NIL does, but the collective, right?
Right.
But like one player gets, and if a player doesn't like the fact that he doesn't get as much as another player, he may leave. So tell me about how the contracts work. How enforceable are they? We saw the Rashada thing, but
what did we never see in Rashada? We never saw the contract.
That's right.
And what everybody needs to know is that was a fraud. They brought it as a fraud case, okay? And so I think there's an incredible amount of variability in these contracts, and I don't know that we know. And I think they're individual deals that are getting cut at different times, right? Because you can't pay to play. But the entire thing is a facade to pay to play, right? I mean, absolutely. And so one of the things is there's a House v. NCAA settlement that we've talked about. And this is for players in the past to get paid. And who's going to pay that? The universities, right? Well, there are a couple of legislators who came out and said, not in our state, because in California, the university is not going to pay the player. We're not going to allow it to happen. It's illegal in our state. Case. So the first thing he said is it was paying the teams. Well, it's the collectives right now.
Right, that's right.
Okay, but what we know is they're really paying them to come play at Florida. They're getting booster money together,
right.
And they're doing it as a facade, and they're saying, hey, name, image, and likeness, we're going to give you money for your name, image, and likeness, wink, wink, and come play, right? Well, why don't the universities want to play? Why don't the legislators want to? Do you know why?
Tell me.
Because now they're employees. Who's got to get what benefits? What other things are going on? Are these no longer not-for-profits, right? This sure sounds like the NFL. The NFL's paying 35% tax rates, but the universities aren't, right? And so,
That's a great point. Let me stop you, but that's a great point. If LSU pays the player, well, then there's workman comp, and then there's days off, there's PTO, there's everything that you have to deal with.
No doubt, and I'm still waiting.
That's a great point.
It doesn't matter if it's NIL or not. You got to pay taxes on this. So who's going to be the first player that we find out gets indicted or something else because he hasn't paid his taxes? And how often is there going to be payment to a player for his name, image, and likeness, and say he gets paid $600,000 and the handlers go through it and he gets $200,000 and they don't tell him, and who knows, right? But I will guarantee you that the IRS will be concerned about a multi-million-dollar business where people go get paid the money. And so I'm real interested. I'd like to see some of those contracts, because if I'm going to go pay DJ Lagway, right, and some reports are he's making $4.5 million, I don't know. I don't know that for a fact. But what do I want? I don't want to go in free agency every year, right? So I'd like to pay for name, image, and likeness to get me for 3 years. But can you really restrain him for that? Because really you're trying to pay for play. So maybe he can come in and do a Gatorade ad for me, or maybe he can do that, but he can do that at Texas A&M. He doesn't necessarily have to do it at Florida. So there's a lot going on there legally, and we haven't seen a lot of these contracts, right? We really haven't. And I would imagine there's some variability. Georgia, right? At first, remember, the university couldn't have anything to know what was going on with the NIL collective, so we kind of redid our law here, okay? Our law doesn't say Florida couldn't pay it, but before they weren't going to go pay it because that sure looks like pay for play, and that would be an eligibility issue, right?
Right.
But now we've got a settlement with a federal judge saying you guys should go pay these players directly, but they're saying to pay it for name, image, and likeness. Now in Georgia, they said you guys could go ahead and pay the NIL direct, which is getting a lot closer to pay for play, but that's going to be the big issue. Is because what you want to know, and you want to know about contract law, and Hays wants to know is how are these players going to stay here, right? I mean, you want to get when you've got the 5-star quarterback that you think, right? In Gainesville, they think this guy's going to change things, right? We all do. Well, you want him there for 3 years, but there's going to be a lot of kids, and they don't grow up a Gator fan or a Cane fan or a Dog fan, and who's to say they don't go out in free agency every year, you know?
Well, and to your point, the revenue sharing starts in July. And they've agreed, these schools, that they're going to have a $20 million pot to pay players. So that's $1.2 billion. If you extrapolate $20 million per, let's say, 65 teams that do it, the teams in the power conferences all are able to do that. That's $1.2 billion in salary. Obviously, the government, I would think, is going to be all over trying to get their percentage of that.
Right. Well, what do we think? We think that Oregon, right, has a huge advantage because they have Phil Knight, right? Well, in Oregon, they take the position that under their statute, Oregon can't play these players directly. Okay? So if we move towards this, right, is NIL going to be here in 7, 8, 9 years? Yeah, you're going to get money for your name, image, and likeness, but there's going to be closer to a pay for play. Like we can just see it from an antitrust perspective. We can see where it's going from an employment perspective. But what happens right now when you say, hey, here's this money and you can go do it? And they say, well, you can't do it, Oregon. But Ohio State's going to do it, right? We know Ohio State and Texas and some of these other states or Alabama, they're going to go and change whatever the law is to allow them to have a competitive advantage. So we say that's going to be there, but I still think there's some things that have to be worked out here, right? Because some issues are relatively clear legally, but competitively they create problems. Just like I heard you guys as I was driving in here. Yeah, like how is Boise State a 3 seed? Okay,
right. It's ridiculous.
And let's say one thing: I love everybody at the Gator Bowl, right? I love those guys. They do it. These bowl matchups are horrible this year, right? I don't want to go to Florida Tulane, and I don't want to go to Ole Miss Duke. Okay, if I had Ole Miss Miami here, that would be great. How in 3 or 4 years are all of these games not going to be neutral site to save these bowl games a la the NCAA because none of these other ones really move the meter?
But back to the point before we let you go. You made an interesting point about taxes, interesting point about money. So what does happen? If there's no record of it, does the IRS investigate these guys?
No.
If there's no contract, that's my whole point. Is that the whole point of our segment today is a coach's contract, we know what it is.
Right.
It's a contract.
Right.
When Joe Blow, player for Texas A&M, has rushes for 1,200 yards, and to keep him, the school needs to pay him $500,000 or he's going to go in the portal. Is that a contract? Does he get? That's what I'm trying to get to. Is it normal? Is it does he get a contract that the lawyer signs and the collective signs? And
there'd be a contract between those parties for the use of their name, image, and likeness.
Okay.
And so
it's an NIL contract,
right? And so how would they go? It's not it can't be
right
to pay to play, which is what we know of what it is, right? And so what it is you need to do 11 Facebook appearances. Right. You need to come do this, and we can use you. Right? Like what's going to happen next?
And
if you're the Gator Bowl MVP, do you need to pay the kid to use his picture?
And it's enforceable like any other contract, right?
Right.
That's the whole.
And then
thing.
How did they legally get around the revenue sharing and saying that now we're going to have a system starting in summer of 25 where every power school, I think it's every school can in Division I, but most people believe only the power ones will, that they can revenue share $20 million without making those athletes now employees?
It's a good question, right?
Yeah,
and that's where I think, I think the universities are saying, hey, we know we're going to be paying them at some point, and there needs to be some consensus. We see these conflicts with the state law. We need a national paradigm, to be able and to go and to put these things, in place. And it's going to take them a little while to do it.
It's never going to end. Brett Hastings, great work as always. It'll be fun kind of continuing to track this.
For sure.
From the Hastings Injury Law Firm. By the way, how you doing? You have milkshake over there.
Oh, it's fantastic.
JJ, how's your milkshake? Good.
It's good. I don't know what the flavor is, but it's very
It's
Christmassy.
seasonal. It's like a peppermint Christmas.
Peppermint chip milkshake now through January at all Chick-fil-A's. I want to thank Eric Gillis, our buddy. Eric takes such good care of us.
Oh, yeah.
Eric will come in here and bring us food and milkshakes. And also, Eric, thank you very much.
Fantastic family.
And we appreciate our friends from Chick-fil-A. And Chick-fil-A's got a brand new milkshake out there, peppermint chip milkshake, now through January. Get in there because it is absolutely spectacular. So if I start mumbling over my words, it's because I got all this milkshake going down my throat. So, but Eric, thank you. You're the best. And thanks to our friends at Chick-fil-A. And Brett, thanks for stopping by. Back in a moment, 1010 is still 92.5 FM.
It's the ride home with the Frangie Show. From the Harrell and Harrell studio, don't settle for less than you deserve.
AA Automotive helps keep your car in dependable travel condition. Stop in today. They'll check the brakes, tires, fluids, electric, and AC to get you right back to your holiday plans. AA Automotive on Richard Street. Full service auto repair you can count on.
It's holiday season and Nimnick Buick GMC is here for you. Whether you're making memories on the road or continuing family traditions right here in Jacksonville, you can always count on us because there's nobody but Nimnick. Now look, if you're looking for a better used car shopping experience, you'll find it at Nimnick Buick GMC, Jacksonville's only Car Bravo certified dealership. And with Car Bravo at Nimnick, you'll get transparent pricing, the best value for your trade, and peace of mind. Now is the time to shop certified used vehicles and buy with confidence. What kind of models are you getting? Honda, Toyota, Kia, Mazda, Ford. That's right. All makes, all models. And trading in your old vehicle, don't forget who gives you top dollar for your trade. Nobody but Nimnick. So shop online at nimnickbuickgmc.com or visit their showroom off Phillips Highway. It's holiday season and there's never a better time to buy from Nimnick. Who takes care of you? Nobody but Nimnick.
This is Richard Miller with your Showtime Sports Cards and Collectibles Update. 2024 Certified Football hits shelves this month as a staple of Panini's Football Live. A fun rookie to chase, especially locally, will be Jags receiver Brian Thomas Jr., who signed autographs for Certified Football. It's Showtime Sports Cards and Collectibles. Update your collection.
Bet live with Hard Rock Bet. Real-time wagering till the very last play. Missing the kickoff doesn't mean all bets are off.
Delay a game on the guy who hasn't bet yet.
Sometimes you just know your team is going to come back. The sportsbook for every kind of player.
Hard Rock Bet. Roll with us.
Get up to $100 back if your first bet doesn't win. Payable and bonus bet up to $100, not a cash offer. Offered by the Seminole Tribe of Florida. Must be 21 plus and physically present in Florida to wager. Terms and conditions apply. Concerned about gambling? Please call 1-888-ADMIT-IT.
Hey everybody, it's Mike Dempsey. Here in North Florida, you know that when temperatures go up and your AC goes out, you need help now. Like right now. Like lickety-split. So why not call Lickety Split and get same-day emergency service for your AC? Now, I bet you've seen their trucks all over town because they've got dozens of certified technicians ready to repair not only your AC, but your home's plumbing and electrical, too. So when you want it done right and you need it done right now, call Lickety Split, AC, Plumbing, and Electric.
Grab your lucky spot on the couch because traditions make Sunday easy to enjoy. Bud Light, easy to Sunday, easy to enjoy. Bud Light is the official beer sponsor of the NFL. Enjoy responsibly. 21 plus. Copyright 2024 Anheuser-Busch. Bud Light Beer, St. Louis, Missouri.
Start your Sunday off with a cup of Joe and some sports medicine intel. This is Joe C. inviting you to join me and Dr. George Bari for Breaking Bones every Sunday morning at 7:30. And if you miss an episode, just look for Breaking Bones wherever you listen to podcasts.
Stop letting high-interest debt weigh you down. Pay it all off in days thanks to Loan Pronto's new Rapid Equity Loan. Hey, it's Prosser here. Imagine a completely hassle-free way to cash out your home equity. No appraisals, no paperwork, no waiting. Loan Pronto's Rapid Equity Loan uses an AI-driven tech to get you approved for cash in as little as 1 day. One client got $100,000 approved in under 24 hours, wiped out their debt, launched a home improvement project, and is now saving over $1,000 a month. Instant approvals, low fixed rates, fast transfers. Get cash to consolidate all your debt and get a fresh start to the new year. Call Loan Pronto now and see how much you qualify for. Imagine this time next week, you can be credit card debt-free. Call 904-999-1508 or go to loanpronto.com. That's 904-999-1508 or loanpronto.com. Equal housing lender, NMLS 1661781 on approved credit, MLS, consumeraccess.org.
Experience the winning combination of style and performance with Renewal by Andersen, energy-efficient, custom-built replacement windows and doors. Right now, buy one window or patio door and get one 40% off. Plus, 0 down, no payments, and no interest for 18 months. The first 50 customers get a free True Screen upgrade, but this offer expires December 31st. Renewal by Andersen, proud partner of the Florida Gators. Visit bestwindowsflorida.com for details.
License number CGC 1527613.
This is Hays Carlyon for Skylife Elite. Explore the exclusive benefits of aircraft ownership. Partner with Northeast Florida's Elite Air Charter to unlock new revenue opportunities by putting your aircraft on charter, reducing your operating costs while enjoying full service management and exclusive perks. Whether you're a current owner or considering ownership, Skylife Elite provides a seamless, personalized experience that lets your investment soar. Call Skylife Elite at 904-403-2878 to discover more about this rewarding opportunity.
Truck drivers. Without them, our economy would stop. They're constantly racing against time, struggling against exhaustion, and being put under enormous pressure from their bosses, the big trucking companies. This can be a major reason for an accident. Discovering who's at fault can be difficult. We can help. Put our big truck experience to work for you. Call Farah & Farah, Jacksonville.
This is Dr. Kevin Kaplan, head team physician for your Jacksonville Jaguars. Here's the latest update on the Jags, brought to you by Baptist Health and JOI.
The Jaguars are set to face two of the league's most dangerous receivers this Sunday when the New York Jets come to town with Garrett Wilson and Devontae Adams. Despite the Jets' struggles this season, the Jaguars' defense must be on high alert for where these two are at on the field all game, because with a veteran quarterback such as Aaron Rodgers, he will find them as soon as they get open. Here's Peterson on how to limit the receivers.
Two really good receivers, obviously. The history Devontae has with Aaron is well documented, obviously, and you're seeing more and more the connection with Garrett. Yeah, I mean it's a discipline. You just got to stick to your job. You got to stick to what you've been asked to do this week and how you've been taught going in, what the game plan looks like.
I'm Max Fink with your Jacksonville Orthopedic Institute Jaguars update.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
It's a Ricketts Electric Wednesday on The Frangie Show. Ricketts Electric, the power connection you can trust.
All right, so the Jags are home. We do want to thank our friends, by the way, from Ricketts Electric. They are the power connection you can trust. They're the best electricians around, whether it's commercial or residential. Ricketts is the name to know. Frangie, Carlyon, La Selva. Jags and Jets coming up this weekend. Want to go to the game? You going already?
I am going. I'm looking forward to it. I'll be at Tailgaters at 8 a.m. sharp.
Should we give away tickets? Do you have any tickets?
You should absolutely give away
JJ, have any tickets in there?
It's almost
Christmas. I found some tickets, actually. That's strange that you asked that. It's very random.
Yeah, it's very
Yes,
random.
I have a pair of tickets to the Jaguars-Jets this Sunday, December 15th.
Can we give those to one of our listeners?
I would love to.
Okay, let's do that. How about, give me a number. Caller 4. You want 4, JJ?
Caller 85. Okay. Let's go with caller 4, please. 641-1010, and I got a pair of tickets for you.
Very good. You're going to go see the Jaguars, and you're going to go see Aaron Rodgers. So Aaron Rodgers comes in, Hayes. This is a great player.
4-time MVP.
4-time MVP, 1-time Super Bowl MVP, Super Bowl champion. I mean, there's not many 4-time MVPs that are going to ever play in that stadium. So if Tom Brady was coming in, we'd say, here comes Michael Jordan or Tiger, right?
Mm-hmm.
So here comes Aaron Rodgers. What's the comp? It doesn't have to be a basketball player or a golfer, but I mean, this is a big deal. I mean, it may not be the Rolling Stones rolling through, but it's damn sure Aerosmith or Bon Jovi, right?
Yeah, I mean that's the thing. Aaron Rodgers has had a unbelievably brilliant career, and he's not what obviously he used to be, but it is one of the most important players of his generation. So if you're a football fan and you've never gotten the chance to see Aaron Rodgers, that's absolutely a draw. Because again, it's not that he's what he used to be, but he's still very good. And
just threw for 300 yards last Sunday.
And he's every time I've seen Aaron Rodgers play live, he's always done something that has been miraculous. He had one play here. I want to say it was the home opener in maybe 2014. So obviously he was in his prime with the Packers then. And the Jaguars had him in the pocket, like wrapped up, and sort of he spun kind of out of the tackle. And as he spun out of the tackle, he released the ball downfield. And it was like a 24-yard touchdown ball, dead on the money in tight coverage, I think to Davante Adams. But it was an incredible play, and it remains one of the best plays I've ever seen a quarterback make in that stadium. And so, yeah, I mean, I would say if you're a fan of the game and you've never gotten a chance to see Aaron Rodgers, he's absolutely worth the price of admission.
He's 5 touchdown passes shy of 500 for his career, over 62,000 yards, and we said it earlier. A four-time National Football League MVP. So he's really this is a great player.
Yeah, he's one of those guys that when 5 years after his retirement and he's a finalist and his name's brought up in the room with the voters, like the Packers representative will get up and say Aaron Rodgers, and they'll just tell him to sit down.
That's exactly
and they'll
right.
vote. I mean, like that.
That's
that
exactly
would be
right.
it.
Yeah, you don't need. He doesn't need to sell Aaron Rodgers.
Right.
You're exactly right. So one of the great players of all time, and he'll be in town this week, which is kind of a cool thing. Hopefully the Jags beat them. By the way, the Jets are an interesting team. Had huge expectations a year ago, Hays, and then Aaron Rodgers gets hurt in the very first game, and the expectations go away. Come back this year with huge expectations again, with a team that they feel is even better than the team they would have had last year, including him. Pretty good defense, a feisty team. Gets off to a miserable start, they fire the coach. And from that point forward, and even before that, it was clunky, wasn't it? There's no chance this team doesn't have better than 3 and 10 personnel. There's no chance the personnel's not better than that. No chance.
Without a doubt. I mean, and Doug Peterson, talked at length about it today, and he's dead on. I mean, this is defensively. I mean, they've got Quinnen Williams, Sauce Gardner. They've got some big time talent on that side of the ball, and offensively, it's shocking they haven't been better. Obviously they've got issues with their coordinator and the offensive scheme that they've been running, but to have not just Aaron, but to add Davante, who's played well, it just hasn't given them a boost in the win-loss column. Garrett Wilson is an outstanding up-and-coming receiver. Breece Hall, who may not be available Sunday, but is certainly a brilliant young back. I mean, it speaks to what – there's a lot of parallels because the Jets don't have a good offensive line either. And because you would look at their talent and say, well, you got a Hall of Fame first ballot quarterback. You've got a really promising running back. You've got a Hall of Fame receiver, I believe, in Davante Adams. Harder path than Rodgers for him, but I think he gets in.
But a really good player.
Garrett Wilson on the other side. And it'd be like, well, why are they 3 and 10? Well, it's because they can't block. And it's sort of a similar thing with the Jaguars. It's muddier because of the Jaguar injuries, but you look at the talent the Jaguars have at the skill positions offensively, and you would say, well, this is really should be a very explosive offense. And the offensive line at times it hasn't been always, but at times has held them back. And but yeah, the Jets have a lot of talent. It's really they've got poor ownership. They fired Robert Saleh too soon, and in the interim has not provided any kind of spark at all. You look at the Jets, who have lost 9 of 10 games.
Yeah, they're
4 straight.
That's the point. They were 2 and 1, and now they're 3 and 10, which means they've lost 9 out of their last 10 games. I mean, that's how bad it's been. I mean, not so a weird season. And look, they've here's the thing, it hasn't been a murder's row schedule, Hays. They've played Tennessee and They've played Houston. I'm sorry, they played Arizona. They've played New England. Denver wasn't playing as well at the time. It's not like they ran through this murderer's row gauntlet, and they're still 3-10.
Yeah, looking at it, obviously offensively they can't block, and then defensively they can't take the ball away, which is a surprise considering their personnel. But again, I think it speaks to when you fire Saleh, who was a defensive-minded head coach. Now you've seen a drop off on that side of the ball as well from a playmaking standpoint, probably because guys aren't exactly sure what they maybe aren't. The communication maybe isn't as strong as it would have been if Saleh was still in place. They do a good job getting after the quarterback. They're fourth in sack percentage, which you would think would lead to takeaways, but it hasn't. The Jets have only forced 10 takeaways this year, and they're last in interception rate. So it's been one of those things that poor ownership, poor leadership has ultimately doomed there were people talking in August picking the Jets to go to the Super Bowl.
Correct.
As disappointing as the Jaguars season has been, I think you'd have to give the crown of most disappointing team in the NFL this year to the Jets. Who would have thought Aaron Rodgers, who, has been healthy, would be, a guy who is, as a starter in his career, is 151-85, is 3-10 this season. Those two numbers just don't add up, but it's, and Devontae Adams talked about this too when after he played his first game with the Jets. He came out and said, "Look, this may not make a difference. This may upset people. I don't care. I'm here. They brought me here. I'm paid to be a leader. I'm going to voice my opinion." And he said, "There's no juice here at all. Like there's no energy." And he was asked, well, why didn't you speak up like this when you were playing for the Las Vegas Raiders? And he said, well, that wasn't our problem with the Raiders. We have juice. The Raiders have juice.
Right.
We had other issues that prevented us from winning as many games as we would have wanted, but we had the excitement for each other.
It wasn't a lack of energy.
And they just have not been able to manifest that at all. So I do think it's a talented roster. I don't think that I think the new coach would have a chance of having some immediate success with the Jets, depending on what they do with their personnel. But but they have one of the worst owners in the NFL in Woody Johnson, and this season has been a clear indication of that. They haven't gone to the playoffs, I think, since Bush 41 was in office, and it's the longest streak in professional sports. It's a complete disaster.
What do you think? How do you think the Jags will play? And I'll tee you up a little bit. We all know now that I say no. We all pretty much assume now that ball's going to 7 a lot. It didn't go to him very much. They didn't score. All of a sudden, he had 8 catches in the last 2 drives, and they won the game. I would think it'll almost be comical how much they throw the ball to number 7 this week. Agree?
I would agree. Now, Sauce Gardner will have something to say about that, and I don't know how the Jets will elect to employ him.
Got to believe he'll travel.
If he does, then Brian Thomas isn't catching 8 passes. Right. That I can tell you from Mac Jones. I think Sauce Gardner is. It's no knock on Brian Thomas Jr., but Sauce Gardner is an elite corner, and if the plan should always be to get the ball to Brian Thomas. I'm not disputing that. But it will be a trickier, as challenging as it was against the Titans, who do have a pretty good defense. It will be, I think, even more so against the Jets if Gardner is matched up on Thomas as much as I believe he will be.
It'll be interesting to see the way they go. I think you'll see some Parker Washington, and it's another team that you have to try and run some. You made a point yesterday about Tank Bigsby. What can he? He's at 602 now. Probably can't get to 1,000 yards, but what can he get to? Where can he line up?
25.
Can he get in the 800s, you think?
That's what I would think.
You would think with
part of that too is ETN, and ETN's numbers are just dismal compared to what we thought he would be. He's not even at 400 yards rushing yet.
Yeah, and I was way off on that, yeah.
I was too. And so with ETN being healthy, obviously that's going to make it more difficult because it's now become a true basically 50-50 split back there. But I do think that Tank has a chance to to get into the 800s. That would be averaging, like 55 yards a game on the ground?
That's right.
I would think that would be reasonable considering who the Jaguars have left. And look, there could be some opportunities. Obviously, they're an underdog here to the Jets, but I would think they'll be favored out in Vegas. I think they'll be favored here against the Titans, and then we'll see what if the Colts game means anything to Indianapolis. But you could be in a situation where you've got a lead in a fourth quarter, and Tank can be unleashed a little bit. Where you're up 7, you're up 10 points, and trying to shorten the game and control the ball. So that environment might be conducive to Tank Bigsby breaking off a big game or two down the stretch.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see. There's a lot of the young guys I want to see. We talked about this. Tank Bigsby, obviously Brian Thomas Jr. I want to see Brenton Strange catch some passes. I want to see Parker Washington involved. I'd like to see an awful lot of Ventrell Miller. I'd like to see Mason Smith.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought up Brenton Strange because Evan Ingram didn't practice today because of the shoulder.
Right.
Okay. This is where the Jaguars need to be a wise organization and say, you know what? We're not playing Evan Ingram. We won't announce that until maybe Sunday morning, but there's no reason to play Evan Ingram. Evan Ingram is in your 2025 plan. He is going to be on the team next season, as he should be. So why would you put him out there if he is dealing with something that is preventing him from practicing on Wednesday? This is where you're at the point of the season. If it's close, if it's kind of there's 60%, yes, he could probably play. 40%, he should be inactive. Okay, well, when you're out of the playoffs, flip that because you want to protect the player. And you do have a young player at that position in Brenton Strange that I think you'd like to see get significant snaps and help his development along. So, this is an example. Now, if Evan Ingram can practice tomorrow and it was just more, we're just going to give him some rest, then play Evan Ingram. But if it's really a coin flip, whether he's going to be healthy enough to gut it out, don't play him and let Brenton Strange have the game.
We'll see what winds up happening. Jags and Jets coming up Sunday afternoon at 1 here at Everbank Stadium. We'll take a break, get to some college football. Shane Matthews, Tom Block, Joe Zagacki. One last time this year, the final State Farm College Football Report is next.
The Frangie Show from the Harold and Harold studio. Don't settle for less than you deserve.
If you want more action,
Woo! It's Smash Mouth football, baby!
Tom McManus.
Fridays 10 to noon on Jaguars Today.
Brought to you by Renewal by Anderson Windows and Doors. A better way to a better window on 1010XL. Now you can watch 1010XL shows all day on X, Facebook, and YouTube. Brought to you by MyBookie. Experience Vegas from the comfort of your phone anytime, anywhere. Sign up today. Use promo code 1010XL.
Hey, sports fans, it's Hays Carlyon for MyBookie. Find your holiday season stride with MyBookie. Take advantage of their live betting, especially if a heavy favorite gets off to a slow start. And check out their cool prop bets. If you haven't signed up, go to mybookie.ag and register for a free account. Use promo code 1010XL to get a double bonus. For a limited time, MyBookie will double your money on your first deposit. Let's take a look at some updated MyBookie lines. The Jaguars are a 3-point home underdog against the Jets. The over-under is 39.5 points. The Texans are a 3-point home favorite versus the Dolphins. The Lions are a 2-point home favorite against the Bills. Sign up with that promo code 1010XL to claim your deposit bonus. Again, it's a double bonus. Bet anything, anytime, anywhere with MyBookie. And don't forget that promo code 1010XL.
We're HAPPY, HAPPY, because happy Honda days are here. Everything is bigger. Bigger selection, bigger discounts, bigger trade-in values. Honda, quality, value, safety. Don't miss happy Honda days going on now at your local Honda dealer.
This is Hays Carlyon from my friend Holt at Harold and Harold. There doesn't seem to be enough time in the day to get everything done. Then you get injured in an accident and you don't know what you're going to do. Let Harold and Harold make it easy for you. Easy on becoming a client. You can just text or email if you want. Easy on finding a doctor and getting through the process. Hopefully you won't need them, but if you're ever injured, call Harold and Harold and make it easy on yourself. Call them at 904-251-1111. That's 251-1111.
Nick in here for the Borland Groover Foundation. If you're 45 or older, you need to get screened for colon cancer. Ask your doctor about getting a colonoscopy. The key to surviving colon cancer, early detection and prevention. Borland Groover recently expanded into St. Johns County. The new and advanced surgery center and medical office is open in Durbin Crossing. Visit BorlandGroover.com for a location near you. Remember, 45 is the new 50. Get screened today with Borland Groover.
This is Tony Baselli, Pro Football Hall of Famer. I was known for protecting our quarterback. These days, I'm extending that protection to a different arena, your home. I have partnered with Heritage Roofing of North Florida, your premier local roofers with over 25 years of experience. Heritage is your go-to roofer for hurricane preparation with same-day inspections and estimates. They also work with all insurance companies. Let Heritage Roofing of North Florida safeguard your home and family. Visit heritagenfl.com for your free estimate today.
State license CCC 1335410.
A call to arms. Go Army. A battle on the gridiron.
Be Navy.
This game is everything. This is the world for us and for them.
1010XL's Army-Navy focus is defended by Superior Fence and Rail, where quality matters.
When mice and rats show up in your space, they can be a real pain. You need them out fast before they have time to multiply. Terminix knows how to shut down rodents, and they'll keep them from coming back to wreak more havoc. When rodents show up, so do we. Don't live with a rodent problem. Terminix it. Visit Terminix.com today to schedule a free inspection online. That's TERMINIX.com. TERMINIX.com.
The flagship station of the Jaguars. WJXL AM Jacksonville Beach. WJXL FM Jacksonville Beach.
My name's Jim. I'm 53 years old. There should be options in life, like ways to lose weight. Medications now feel like the only option. I mean, it sounds like a guarantee. I do have friends who have lost weight with them. I tried holding off. I did other diets, but I was miserable. I'd rather be fat and happy. The problem was I wasn't happy fat. I was about to start the meds, but then I heard of Awaken 180's GLP-1 program. Turned out it does the same thing as the meds without injecting myself for life. It absolutely worked. I dropped 45 pounds. I'm now in maintenance, and I feel better than my friends who are still on the meds. Listen, I barely know what GLP-1 is. What I do know is Awaken 180 worked for me, and I was far from miserable doing it.
Thanks, Jim. You all know our success with Awaken 180, and now with Awaken 180's GLP-1 Balance, you address the root causes of weight issues. Do it naturally, then keep it off. Awaken180weightloss.com.
Jingle bells, plumbing's gone astray. A burst pipe, no hot water clogged drain on Christmas Day. That's no holiday. Call Duck Duck Rooter. We're faster than Santa's sleigh.
904-862-6769 or duckduckrooter.com.
Icebreakers Bar and Grill in the Community First Igloo is the coolest place in town for lunch and dinner. Watch the game with a wide selection of local beers, cocktails, wings, burgers, ribs, and more. Enjoy with family and friends at Emerson and I-95.
This is Hays Carlyon for First Florida Credit Union. I bank with First Florida Credit Union because I trust them. I can always count on them when it comes to the vast services they provide. First Florida Credit Union was voted Best Bank in the 2024 Best of Bold City Community Choice Awards, and it's easy to see why. I go to the branch off 210 in St. Johns County and the new Durbin location, but they have 10 branches in the Jacksonville area. You need to be banking with First Florida Credit Union. They're enriching people every day. Federally insured by NCUA, Equal Housing Opportunity Lender.
It's a game 80 years in the making. Join us for Thursday Night Football as we celebrate the 80th birthday of the Tax Slayer Gator Bowl game. The SEC and ACC face off January 2nd at 7:30 on Bill Gay grounds at Everbank Stadium. Don't miss college football pageantry on display as we celebrate our 80th anniversary. Tickets and hospitality packages are on sale now at TaxSlayerGatorBowl.com. Get yours today.
If golf is your thing, you'll want to check out the 2025 Hills Pass at Hidden Hills Golf Club. Unlimited golf, including golf car, and preferred tee times for just one low price. Visit us at hiddenhillsgc.com to purchase your Hills Pass today.
I'm Max Fink here with your 1010XL Southeast Orthopedic Specialist local sports update. It was announced that Ole Miss and Duke will be facing off in this year's Tax Slayer Gator Bowl right here at Everbank Stadium on January 2nd. Yesterday, the coaches held their initial press conference for the game, where Ole Miss head coach Lane Kiffin announced that star quarterback Jackson Dart will in fact play in the game. In recent years, it's become very common for top NFL draft prospects to sit their bowl game out, but not at Ole Miss. Here's Lane Kiffin on Dart's decision.
Probably last week, I asked him
was he playing. Told him, possible bowls that we were hearing, with Gator being one of those. And he said he was definitely playing and wanted to play his last game with these guys. And he encouraged some of his other guys that were in that in-between position of playing or opting out for the draft. Seems like we're seeing all those guys are headed towards playing in this game. So
it's 59 degrees at 5 o'clock. Time and temp brought to you by Bueller Air and Plumbing. Stay cooler with Bueller.
1010XL is presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
Time now for the State Farm College Football Report with Shane Matthews on the Gators, Tom Block on the Noles, and Joe Zagacki on the Canes. Presented by your local State Farm agent.
All right, it's our final State Farm College Football Report of the year. Didn't have one last week because of the Tom Coughlin J-Fun Radiothon. We have it this week. Let's start with Shane Matthews and the Gators. His report is brought to you by State Farm agents Ron McCann, Mike Tosel, Caitlin Duggar, Jason Judy, Catherine Ballard. All right, Shane, as we wrap up this season, what a good finish for the Gators. You know that? They looked left for dead after those early games. They found a way to win a bunch of games in a row. They've got a winnable bowl game. How were they able to turn it around? Was it just stay in the course, like you say, playing the right players? As you look back, that was quite a turnaround for Florida.
Yeah, it was. You got to give the coaching staff, the players, a lot of credit. I think the biggest thing is, as you said, they started playing the best players, didn't rotate a lot of guys. And obviously, DJ's brought a different element to the team, and he's got to get better next year. He's got to complete the intermediate balls, just not the deep balls. But yeah, they got a chance to win 8 games. I picked 8 and 4. Obviously, I wasn't including the bowl game in the preseason, but winning 8 games the way it started, it's been quite remarkable.
Do you like the bowl matchup against Tulane and Tampa?
Well, I would think we should win it. I mean, I don't even know if they're top 2 quarterbacks. I thought I read where both of them are in the portal. I think one of their defensive ends, their best defense players in the portal. So, I mean, that's the world we live in today. But, it's a reward for these kids, and Florida should win the game.
Shane, I would think the vibe is good now. They had a good recruiting year. They rallied to have that. They lost a couple good players in the portal, but for the most part, the core of that team's coming back. Is there a positive buzz around the program down there that I would think is there?
Yeah, there is. I think people feel a lot better about the program. There's still some fans and people out there that weren't pleased with the recruiting class. I mean, they closed very, very well, flipping a lot of guys. I don't know if they were 11th, 12th in America. I don't follow recruiting that closely, but they were like 7th or 8th in the SEC. So I think that's where people were upset. But supposedly signed a lot of good players. We don't know what's going to happen in the next week or so with the portal. One thing you say, Billy has brought in some good players via the portal, and I expect that this year.
It doesn't feel like also that they need like 15 guys in the portal. It feels like they can be pretty selective. But what are some areas, Shane, where you think they do need to add some veteran talent?
Well, I think it's like the NFL now. Best players available. If they can help your team regardless of position, you go get them if they're interested in playing for the Gators. But you got to think they're going to get a couple of veteran receivers. I like a lot of our young guys, but DK and Badger were outstanding this year. I think a lot of people don't realize how savvy they were running routes, how they used their body to catch a lot of balls. So I think the receivers won, and then anytime you can add big guys, either on the D-line or the offensive line, I think you do that.
There's no question about it. I would think the trenches where they have to get better, but a very good finish to the season. 1 bowl game left for the Florida Gators. Shane Matthews checking in all year long. Did a great job. Shane, thanks, buddy. We appreciate it.
Thank you, guys. Y'all take care. Happy holidays.
Same to you, man. All right, one last time. Let's say hello to Tom Block from the Seminole Radio Network. His report brought to you by Craig Dewhurst, Ramey Alaboo, Margie Williams, Scott Hobson, Brandon Thomas, Tiffany Mapp, and Randy Taylor, all State Farm agents. Tom, how you doing there?
I'm good. How are you, Frank?
We are doing fine. All right, the latest news, and gosh, I know it's been a season of bad news, but I was surprised Luke Kromenhoek left. I really liked him. I told you before, I thought, and I said after the Florida FSU game, the bright spot to me was he looks like something special. Next thing you know, he's headed out. Were you surprised by that, and is there a story behind the story?
I don't know if there's a story behind the story these days. Maybe the answer is yes, because there's always a story behind the story. I was moderately surprised. But the reality is, if you look at it from his point of view, Maybe there's more dollars involved. Maybe he's not, completely sold, even though Gus Malzahn is, running. I mean, Mike is basically running Gus's offense with variations. A lot of the guys that Luke came in with, they're moving on. And after going 2-10, maybe he just wants a clean slate. So, I don't think he was their answer for next year. I think he's got potential. I think he was probably still another year away. And maybe the fact that they're, they have quarterbacks in today. They've got several quarterbacks coming in. All that, I think, just added up to he wanted a fresh start somewhere else.
Tom, when you look at the nucleus of this team that's returning, who are some players that you're excited about?
Man, that's a good question, because when you look at it, I guess I'd start in the defensive secondary. They really have recruited pretty well the last couple of years, so they have some guys back there, both at the corner and safety position, like a Quindarius Jones, Edwin Joseph, Charles Lester, who didn't play a lot this year. That's probably their deepest position, and I think it'll fit well with the new defensive scheme, which is a 3-3-5, but is multiple. So that's probably where I would go. Offensively, the freshman running back they got coming in that was committed to Georgia until the 11th hour. I'm excited about seeing what he can do too.
Final thing here, Tom. All right, this is Mike Norvell survived a very difficult year, one of the worst in school history, in large part because he had earned that the last 2 years. In large part, there's a buyout involved. So he retooled everything, gutted the staff, brought in new coordinators on both sides, gutted part of the staff, I should say. He's going to have a lot of players in the portal. So what's it going to look and feel like next year? Is it going to be an all-portal team? Is Mike coaching for his career or certainly for his FSU job? Is Thomas Castellanos, the Boston College transfer, got a pretty good chance to be the quarterback? I know I'm throwing a lot of questions out, but how new and how different will it feel next year? I guess that's the point.
Yeah, well, I think it'll be much more buttoned up. I mean, I think just new voices on the practice field and in the meeting room. I mean, I think it's going to be I don't mean to imply that it was a loose ship, because that's not accurate. I think what they really missed this year was leadership. And so when they're going out, they need more talent, but they need guys that are alpha dogs, guys that are out there. And if you make a mistake, the fear of God comes over you for what this guy is going to say to you. They didn't have any of those types on the field this year, and so they need some of those. Is he coaching for his career? I don't know if he is next year, but obviously he's got to make marked improvement. I mean, next year the buyout is still north of $50 million, right? Nobody wants to consider that scenario, so you just need to get better. And how much better is good enough? I don't know what the answer to that is. I'd say north of 500, get back to a bowl game. And as far as the roster, I mean, yeah, you're truly going to need a roster in those shoes too, because there's going to be 50 new guys probably by the time it's going to look like what Deion did at Colorado and what Dillingham did at Arizona State. I mean, it's a complete overhaul. How many other questions you have in there? Quarterback, yeah, I think you probably hit the nail on the head in terms of the BC kid who started at UCF. I mean, if I was going to pick one out of the guys that are out there, I'd say Castellanos is probably the one who'll come in.
That was an outstanding job of covering every question, by the way. Okay, so good work, very good work. Tom, great
Frank,
work.
You've been doing this a while. How many questions do you want to put into one?
Tom, great work as you've always done all year long. We appreciate it, man. We'll talk to you next year. Thanks, buddy.
All right, happy holidays, guys.
All right, same to you. Tom Block does a great job talking Seminole football. And let's bring in my buddy Joe Zagacki, the play-by-play voice of the Canes, brought to you by State Farm agents Joe McGee and Gene Coleman. Joe, I got to tell you, I've been saying this earlier today in the program and all week long. It's weird to me how quickly the Miami buzz went away. I mean, Alabama, everyone's complaining about them not being in the playoffs, and South Carolina, people talking about the great year they had. Miami had a fantastic year, a couple blips at the end, and no one's even talking about them anymore. No one's complaining that they're not in. That was weird to me. It was a weird, quick ending for me for the Canes. Did you feel that way?
Yeah, it just seemed like it fizzled, Frank.
Yeah.
They're right there on the doorstep, and Miami's always has been a polarizing program, and people love them, people hate them. So hard to kind of gauge what people were thinking about this year. Ultimately, I think the truth is they go 10-2. It's a big leap from where they were a couple years ago at 5-7,
right?
Then 7-6. So 10-2. That's very positive. 2 weeks after the loss to Syracuse is still a very, very bitter loss and deep disappointment that Miami's not playing in one of those playoff games. But they had their chance. They had to win 2 out of 3 down the stretch, and they failed to do it.
Joe, where do you think this season for Cam Ward ranks is the best in Hurricanes history?
It's probably, it's got to be one of the great. I mean, to me, it's the greatest season in Hurricanes history. I don't know. He's got 41 touchdown passes. He's probably not going to win the Heisman. I think he should win the Heisman. Not going to win the Heisman, but in Hurricane history, he put together one of the great seasons, and Miami had one of the great offensive seasons in the history of college football. So it was fun to watch. They had an extraordinary year. Just wasn't good enough. Just not good enough. But for him personally, it was just a stupendous season. I mean, an incredible, record-breaking, and probably the best in Hurricanes history.
You know, I will tell you, and we've been talking about this too, if they gotten in that tournament, I'm not sure they'd have won it, but I sure would have liked watching, even if they lost 56-42 to Oregon, they would have been the most entertaining team in it. You know what I mean, Joe? They would have been, everybody would have loved watching them in it. I guess that's why I'm disappointed a little bit.
Yeah, I think that was kind of missed there. But they would go up and down the field, and but they got edged out. You know, SMU did what they needed to do, and ultimately SMU got a lot of momentum on their side, public opinion on their side going into that game. It was, well, if SMU win or lose, they should be in. I thought it was interesting also. Did you know that in that game, Clemson, the ACC, you know, I'm going to get my shot in, Frank. You ready for this one?
I'm ready. I love a shot from you.
Clemson had no penalties. Zero penalties. Zero penalties in the ACC championship game.
Wow.
I'm telling you,
Zero.
They must have played one hell of a game.
Zero.
Only the second time since 1952 has Clemson had a game with zero penalties.
Wow.
Oh, by the way, as Paul Harvey would say, the same officiating crew had Miami the week before. Miami had 9 penalties. And now you know the rest of the story.
Joe, obviously bowl game still to come, but what do you think is next for Miami? What do you think Mario will look to add in the portal?
Well, like everybody else, going to have to fix, probably rebuild the roster. They'll have, I think, enough resources to keep the players that are on the roster that they want. I'm sure there's going to be a bunch of guys that leave, a bunch of guys that come in, and, of course, the number one question is going to be quarterback. You know, Emory Williams sat very patiently this year and learned and did what he was supposed to do behind Cam Ward. He started 2 games a year ago, one at Florida State, one against Clemson. Played pretty good in those games, has shown a lot of ability in practice, but there's a pretty sizable difference in Cam Ward and Emory Williams. Not that Emory can't be a great quarterback, but those are very big shoes to fill, and that's going to be the number one question in the offseason.
Yeah,
where does Miami go? Do they stay internally, or do they go out to the portal?
Yeah, and my guess is it'll be the portal because that's what people do. They don't have an established starter, but we will certainly see. Joe Zagacki, great work all year long talking Canes with us, the voice of the Canes, brought to you by Joe McGee and Gene Coleman. Joe, we appreciate it, buddy. Thank you.
All right. Thank you. Happy holidays.
Same to you, man. That is Joe Zagacki talking Canes, Tom Block talking Knowles, Shane Matthews talking Gators. One final time, the State Farm College Football Report. We'll take a break. Hayes has headlines on the other side. Stay with us.
The Frangie Show from the Harrell and Harrell studio. Don't settle for less than you deserve.
It's not reinventing the wheel, it's making it roll down the field.
Let's keep it rolling.
Listen for the Randy Marion Cadillac of Jacksonville drive of the game.
That's a great drive right there.
On 1010XL.
Keep going. We got to keep going, keep going, keep going.
This is Hays Carlyon for Kingfish Pest Control. Are you tired of spiders, ants, roaches, or other pests invading your home? Call the winning team at Kingfish Pest Control. Right now, score 20% off your new pest control service when you start during the football season. Also, enter their Swat That Kick Jaguars promotion at Jaguars.com for a chance to win 3 years of free pest defense. Save big and defend your home with Kingfish Pest Control, proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Frank Frangie here, and I can't say enough good things about the team at Sunshine Turf and the work they've done for us. Let Sunshine Turf transform your backyard into a low-maintenance oasis that will be green all year long with artificial turf. Caleb and his team can help you create the lush outdoor space of your dreams, whether you want a durable place for your kids to play or you're ready to say goodbye to muddy paw prints. Visit sunshineturf.info or call 904-383-0243 for a free quote today from Sunshine Turf.
This is Josh Woolsey with Woolsey Morecambe. Woolsey Morecambe is your MVP in the legal game. Our team of skilled attorneys tackle personal injury cases with compassion and expertise. With fumbles like a car or truck accident, we're here to seek the compensation you deserve. Right here in Jacksonville, we've successfully won over $100 million and earned a championship-worthy record. When it's game time, you want a team that plays to win. Contact Woolsey Morecambe at 1-800-WOOLSEY. Offices, Jacksonville.
When you're shopping for insurance, you might say, "What? Huh?"
I'm so over this.
But what you really need to say is something that could actually help.
Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
When you get a local State Farm agent, they can help make it easy and help you choose the coverage you need. Plus, they're available online, over the phone, or even in person.
I'm so into this.
Call State Farm agent Caitlin Duggar at 770-4897.
Interested in a unique date night? Gibby here. I took my wife Nikki to Wick a Candle Bar. She made her own custom candle right there in the store. Shop local at Wick a Candle Bar. Locations in San Marco and Jacks Beach.
Ready to sharpen your aim or find the perfect firearm? Come to St. Nicholas Guns and Range. With a huge selection of guns, ammo, and accessories, plus Jacksonville's best indoor range for every skill level. They've got everything you need to hit your target. Whether you're a pro or just starting out, their friendly experts will guide you every step of the way at 4630 Blanding Boulevard or online at stnickguns.com. St. Nicholas Gun and Range. Gear up, shoot a lot, shoot better.
She's very comfortable talking sports and hanging out with the boys.
Mia O'Brien here, still providing the best multimedia sports coverage in Northeast Florida on 1010XL radio, video, and social channels.
All things Mia are driven by Arlington Toyota. 1010XL's Army-Navy focus is defended by Superior Fence and Rail, where quality matters.
I'm Chris Griffin, United States Marine combat veteran. Two teams with a history of colliding spanning 134 years, 124 games, 2 trophies, and a pair of football traditions unlike any other. Both with the eyes of the country upon them and a promise to honor America's heroes. Now, this historic rivalry jumps to the capital city, Washington, D.C. This is the Army-Navy game.
If you're tired of your fence looking like a bad hair day, well, it's time for a fence makeover with Superior Fence and Rail. They'll make your yard the talk of the town with a new fence installed by their expert team.
Your fence is fantastic.
My fence is giving all of my neighbors some serious pick and envy. Thanks, Superior Fence and Rail.
So get off the fence and call Superior Fence and Rail for your fence installation project today.
SuperiorFenceandRail.com.
This holiday season, give the gift of comfort and joy. Comfort food and the joy that comes with digging into a huge plate of diner favorites from Metro Diner. And to make things even more merry, now through the end of the year, they're adding on a $10 bonus card with every $50 spent on gift cards. Metro Diner gift cards are the perfect gift for everyone on your list. Friends, family, or coworkers. Stop by the diner or metrodiner.com and get all your gift shopping done easily. Happy holidays from Metro Diner.
Clean air, cool air, both are extremely important. Trust Florida Home AC to deliver on both with their Remy Halo, the next generation of air quality technology. Call 777-4300 for Florida Home AC and breathe clean and cool air.
Hi, this is Dave Barker. Want to grow your hair back?
IHRS right here in Jacksonville is the only hair transplant clinic in the country that offers multi-unit hair grafting, FUE NeoGraft hair transplants, and the 45-minute effective PRP treatments.
Multi-unit hair grafting gave me more hair in one procedure and within my budget.
Thank you, IHRS.
IHRS showed me what was causing my hair loss and helped stop it.
Schedule a free evaluation and find out how to grow your hair back and keep the hair you have. Call 904-777-IHRS. Take the first step to restoring your hair today. Visit hairforme.com.
Now my hair will grow for the rest of my life. Thanks, IHRS.
IHRS has been restoring hair for men and women for over 30 years.
Call now for a free in-person or virtual evaluation. 904-777-IHRS. That's 904-777-4477. Or visit hair4me.com.
1010XL is presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
Ladies and gentlemen, may I have your attention, please? Gather round. It's Hays' Headlines, presented by Harrell and Harrell. Don't settle for less than you deserve. Hear all about it. Here's Hays Carlyon.
Yeah, hopefully you won't need them, but if you ever do, give our friends at Harrell and Harrell a call at 251-1111. Welcome back to the Frangie Show. Frank Frangie, JJ LaSilva here. I'm Hays Carlyon. Frank, we're going to start with Trevor Lawrence. He is still in concussion protocol, but penned a very nice message to fans and sort of with the kind of the theme of I will bounce back, we will bounce back stronger from this disappointing season.
You know what? He is a good guy, and he knows how to connect with the fans. And when he writes something, Hays, it's very genuine. It's very sincere. You could read that in it. You could feel that when you read it. And he will bounce back stronger. He'll be totally healthy. And look, I'm always glasses half full guy. You know that. But a big core of this team a big core of next year's team is here right now. They'll learn an awful lot from what happened this year. And I'm looking forward to these 4 games, and I'm looking forward to the future. Good for Trevor.
Doug Peterson met with reporters prior to practice today and said tight end Evan Ingram would not practice, and he did not. The injury report has been released. So Evan Ingram does not practice today, but Doug Peterson did say that he expects him to play Sunday against the Jets. It's trending in that direction.
Yeah.
Is that good? If it's close, would you like to see them sit Evan Ingram?
Yeah, you made a point earlier, which was a good point, sit him. But I told you this, Hays, in the past. I think it's important for veteran players to play if they're not in a position where they can re-injure themselves because of the prior injury. I like it when veteran players play. I like it when you win games. I think winning enough games this year does have a positive effect on next year. People don't always think that, but I do. I think how you end one season affects how you start the next. We've seen it the last 2 years. So I hope he plays if he can. Your point's a fair one. Don't risk it. And I agree with that, but I hope he plays if he can.
Let's take a look at the opponent, the New York Jets. Star running back Breece Hall dealing with a knee injury and might miss another game as the Jets get ready to travel to face the Jaguars.
Yeah, they have a good team. It's hard to believe a team with Aaron Rodgers, Devontae Adams, Garrett Wilson, Breece Hall has lost 10 games. But to the point you made earlier, I would agree with you. Still got to block them. And if you can't block them, a lot of those guys don't matter. I told you, I've said this many times. I'm very surprised the Jags are 3-10. I really am. I'm also very surprised the Jets are 3-10. I don't think there's any question about that.
Yeah, without a doubt. The NFL plans to play a game in Berlin next season, so the league's conquest for world domination now going to Berlin, Germany.
It really is. You know, the NFL folks are smarter than me. This is the most successful professional sports league in the Western Hemisphere. They know what they're doing for sure. I don't know that I see it as important as Roger Goodell and the league leaders do. I'm sure you're making a bunch of money every time you go into a new market or new area, but they are committed to playing all over. That's for sure.
We know the Bills-Lions is the headliner in a fantastic week of NFL action coming up this weekend, but Buffalo got good news today. They're getting healthier. Tight end Dalton Kincaid and receiver Keon Coleman practiced in full, so Buffalo hoping to have those 2 weapons back in a game that the loser's probably going to score 38.
Kincaid's really important. Keon Coleman is a rookie, still finding his way, has good moments. But Dalton Kincaid's a big part of what they do. He makes Josh Allen and that whole offense way better.
Let's give you a wild card update.
I love wild cards. Give me a wild. I haven't had a wild card update in the longest time.
Here we go. 4 games left in the AFC. The Ravens, Chargers, and Broncos are all currently tied at 8-5, and that is the order. The Ravens are the 5, Chargers are the 6, Broncos the 7. They have a 2-game lead over the Colts and Dolphins. So really not a ton of drama there, at least yet. The Colts and Dolphins have some work to do to make that one competitive. In the NFC, the 11-2 Vikings are the 5 seed, followed by the Packers at 9-4, and then the Commanders are the 7 seed at 8-5.
Wow.
The Rams are 1 game back of Washington, so that one is heating up.
Boy, the NFC's good. Boy, there are a lot of good teams in the NFC. But yeah, I think by now barring upsets, you have a pretty good idea of who's in the playoffs most years, unless there's a head-to-head game like there's been with the Jags and the Titans the last few years. But that notwithstanding, you have a pretty good idea by now who's in.
Absolutely. Let's get to the NFL draft. Michigan cornerback Will Johnson has declared and will enter the draft. ESPN's Field Yates did a mock draft today and has the Jaguars taking Johnson with the 8th pick.
Yeah, I see them. I've seen him mocked here. Now that the mocks are starting to circulate a bit, I guess the Jaguars certainly need at some point to get a corner opposite Tyson Campbell. We all know that they need a cornerback opposite Tyson Campbell. But I don't know that I would pick one that high. I've said it before. As good as Tyson Campbell is, I wouldn't mind seeing Jarian Jones get a look outside. I want big people. I would use that first-round pick on a big person. I really would.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see. And obviously, we got a lot of time between now and the draft, unfortunately. Yates does have some interesting quarterback decisions that he's made in his mock. He has the Giants taking Shedeur Sanders at 1, followed by Cam Ward going second to the Raiders. But those are the only quarterbacks that he has in the first round, which surprised me.
Yeah, I think there's a collection of guys, Garrett Nussmeier and Jackson Dart, and there's probably 5 or 6 of them, Hayes, that are good players. But do they go 18th, 24th, or 38th? I think that's where we are. Are they mid first rounders, late first rounders, or somewhere in the second round? But there's a big group of guys headed by Jackson Dart, I think, that fall into that category.
Let's get to college football. The Noles introduced Gus Malzahn as their new offensive coordinator today. How do you think he'll fare?
You know what? I think he'll do well if he's got the personnel to do it with. Florida State now is such a wild card, Hayes. Nobody really knows what they will be. If they get Thomas Castellanos, which is what people are saying they're going to get, look, I think he's got great moments. He's a great running quarterback. He makes some throws. But in today's day and age where you got to have that 31 of 38 games somewhere along the line, I don't know if he's that. But to your question, I think Gus reunited with Mike Norvell is a good plan if you have good enough players.
We're still awaiting word in Chapel Hill over whether Bill Belichick will be the next football coach of the Tar Heels. I think we've had shorter waits to find out who the next pope is going to be.
Maybe they'll release
for the smoke.
Yeah,
you're looking for
exactly.
The smoke. Yeah,
we need some of the smoke. But one thing that's interesting, I was looking at this because I do think the deal is probably going to happen. The Tar Heels do not play Florida State or Miami next season, so neither have to worry about Belly.
One of the things that I read today is that among the things they're still discussing, salaries you would imagine, NIL monies you would imagine, although here they're getting a bunch in there, but also the role of Stephen Belichick, who's going to start out as the defensive coordinator, which makes me wonder if part of this deal for Belichick to sign up is I want him to be known as the coach in waiting before I do it. I read today that his role, quote unquote, his role would be a conversation piece. We already know he's going to be the coordinator. So what other role could he have?
Yeah, it's a good point. And it's a bad move. Look, this is what I would say to Bill on that. If you're doing great, they're going to give Steve the job. So I wouldn't make this like a guarantee that because first off,
sounds like
North Carolina is not going to live up to it. If Bill Belichick goes 4-8,
right,
they're not going to make Steve the next head coach.
Right,
so it's one of those things that I would say, look, just do it on the field. If you have 2 great, which I would imagine is about the length of how long Bill is going to be there. But if you have 2-3, really good seasons at North Carolina, I think then they're going to be more than happy to have your son step right in.
He'll certainly have every opportunity. That bunch is for sure.
The 2025 SEC football schedule will be released tonight at 7 o'clock on SEC Network. Gentlemen, commence your whining.
Yeah. Well, the problem with that is you already know when the non-conference games are and who the opponents are, and you already know who the conference opponents are. You just don't know when the games are falling, right? Mm-hmm. So there's not a lot of mystery to it. I've heard that Florida, I don't know if you know this or not, the word I heard just today from some sources is that they expect to play Tennessee, Georgia, Texas, Ole Miss, the Chiefs the Yankees and the Dodgers all in succession. Have you heard that?
I could see it happening.
That's what I hear is happening.
Yeah, what the one thing
all on the road.
Yeah, one thing that'll be interesting is you always want to look and see, okay, where is our bye, and then how many teams that we play have a bye before us, and so that'll be and it will be interesting because we know Florida's schedule basically flips from what you had this year.
Right.
So the order will be really interesting to see. Is it backloaded like it was this past year? Will it be a little bit more evenly mixed? But anyway, we will find out in 90 minutes. Every SEC football team schedule for next season. That'll be a lot of fun.
Quick question. Texas has the exact same schedule or teams on their schedule as this season?
Correct.
Is that true?
Just about everybody does.
They're just going to – everybody does. So basically they're just going to flip it. So like Florida went to Texas, so Texas will come to Gainesville,
and that's almost.
And then after this year, they'll redo it however they want.
Dang,
but
you guys are getting screwed.
Yes,
again.
Yes, absolutely. And Georgia will have all the road games that Georgia played this year will be in Athens, but Georgia will still have a tough schedule as well.
Which, by the way, Kirby calling out Sankey on stage was phenomenal.
That was hilarious
because the cameraman. Just zoomed out slowly, like over to him, and he just was staring. He was ahead of look like he wasn't listening to anything he said, but obviously he was.
Apparently, Sankey and his crew have been working to see if it's mathematically possible to give every Georgia opponent a bye next year before they play the Bulldogs. But yeah, so 7 o'clock we'll find out the SEC football schedule. That's always a lot of fun, and we'll break that down a million different ways on tomorrow's show. Let's get to college basketball. There are 7 undefeated teams left in college hoops, and the 9-0 Gators are one of them, Frank. Florida is 6th in the net rankings today. They are back in action Saturday against 8-1 Arizona State.
That'll be a little test. Arizona State has two lottery picks. Bobby Hurley's a good coach. He's the brother of Danny Hurley, as everybody knows. The game's in Atlanta in one of those tournaments. Hayes, that'll be a good test for Florida. Look, as good as Florida is, they have not played an elite team yet. They're 0 for 9 an elite team, so it's an important. And I'm not saying Arizona State's all that elite, but they'll be as good as most of the teams they've played.
Yeah, without a doubt. JU falls to Florida Atlantic last night, 85-63, as the Dolphins fall to 5-5 on the season. JU, tough night offensively, shot 31% from the field.
Yeah, I'll say this: they made some threes though. If you can, they made probably more threes than JU usually makes in a game.
Yeah, they only made 5 field goals inside the 3-point line.
Yeah,
which is unbelievable.
It really is. JU's not been a good offensive team of late, but if they can make threes, they'll be a much better team.
Very good, and we will get you out on our musical nugget of the day because on this day, back in 1989, Billy Joel's "We Didn't Start the Fire" reaches #1 on the Billboard chart. Hard to believe. I remember when this song came out. I was 13, and it's incredible to think this song is 35. Well, it's not. It's older than 35 years. Today marks the anniversary of it becoming the #1 song in the U.S. But a fun song, great lyrics.
Can you imagine writing that song?
No.
I mean, the words that went into that thing, pretty amazing stuff.
Pretty amazing.
Great song, great work. We'll come back to wrap the program after this.
North Korea, South Korea, Marilyn Monroe.
It's the ride home with the Frangie Show from the Harold and Harold studio. Don't settle for less than you deserve.
This is Brent Musburger's Visa in Action update on 1010XL. Brought to you by Duck Duck Rooter Plumbing, Septic, and Air Conditioning. When you're stuck, call the Duck. Proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
NFL Week 15 will start on Thursday night when the San Francisco 49ers take on the LA Rams at Levi's Stadium. The Niners are 6-7, and they will continue the rest of the season without running back Christian McCaffrey, while the Rams have won 6 of their last 8, got healthy, and now it's 7-6, one game back of Seattle for the division lead. San Francisco has dropped 3 of 4. The 49ers are a 3-point home favorite, -105 against the spread. The Rams getting the 3 points are -115. On the money line, Los Angeles is at +130. San Francisco -150 with the over-under sitting at 49.5. Earn cash back on your gaming transactions with the GBank Signature Visa Card at vsin.com/GBank. I'm Tony Desiri with your Visa in Action update on 1010XL.
Deck the halls with pipes a-leaking. Fa-la-la-la-la-la-la. Oh, no! Don't let plumbing ruin your season. Fa-la-la-la-la-la-la. Let's go.
Uh-oh. Got a clog or a leak messing with your holiday cheer? Call Duck Duck Rooter. We're the reindeer of repairs. Fast, reliable, and ready to slay your plumbing problems.
Fa-la-la-la-la-la-la. Hooray!
904-862-6769. Or visit duckduckrooter.com. We're flushing your worries away this holiday season.
Hi, I'm Frank Frangie, and I've depended on South State for my banking needs as long as they've been serving Duval. Whether you're saving for retirement, purchasing a home, starting a business, your goals are their commitment. With forward-thinking, personalized banking solutions and best-in-class service, South State is ready to help you navigate your financial journey. Connect at southstatebank.com or drop by any of the 5 local South State offices. South State Bank, member FDIC, equal housing lender.
We're H-A-P-P-Y, H-A-P-P-Y, because Happy Honda Days are here. Everything is bigger. Bigger selection, bigger discounts, bigger trade-in values. Honda, quality, value, safety. Don't miss Happy Honda Days, going on now at your local Honda dealer.
If you need an insurance agent, I'll recommend the best guy in town, State Farm agent Craig Dewhurst. Call him at 940-9740. Really good guy, really good agent. Life insurance, homeowners, automotive, you name it, he'll handle it for you. Tell him what you need. He'll assess your whole situation. What kind of coverage do you need? How much coverage? What should your deductible be? What do you make and how does it fit your cost and your rates? You will love dealing with Craig. What a nice guy he is and how he'll help you get the right answers. The best in the business. Craig Dewhurst from State Farm, 940-9740.
Hey everybody, Mike Dempsey here for Dandy Foods. Dandy subs and sandwiches. Look, we always want you to think about those great options as you're driving around Duval. But the beauty is, even as I'm dropping pounds, Dandy's got great options for me as well. Told you all about their protein packs, delicious salads that they have out there. They have fruit cups for on the go. You know what they have. Veggie snack trays. You can grab those on the go as well. Perfect, healthy snack. Dandy is the name to know when you're on the go. So stop into a Gate store anywhere around Duval and make yours a Dandy. And do it today.
Elbow pain, whether acute or chronic, can make it difficult to do normal activities like playing sports, doing household chores, or even sleeping comfortably. Dr. George Barry here, and no one wants to deal with pain without solutions on how to feel better. We've all heard of tennis and golfer's elbow, but there's plenty more that can cause pain, like osteoarthritis, muscle tears, and nerve entrapment. All are treatable at Barry Orthopedics. Getting you back to full health is our mission, and there's a number of different treatment options we can offer. Call us today or visit BarryOrthopedics.com.
Keeping up with Seminole Nation.
Join the Noles and their road to repeat as ACC champs.
Stay close to the Seminoles with the Florida State Seminole Report. Brought to you by your local Ag Pro, your home team on 1010XL.
I'm here with Danny Van Sickle, director of the Electrical Training Alliance. Danny, tell me about your program.
Hey, Rick, we're a 4-year electrical apprenticeship. Our students start out making over $40,000 a year, and right now make over $90,000 a year, including benefits. There is no tuition or student debt. You just have to apply and get accepted.
Did you say no tuition and no student debt?
You heard that right, Rick. Once you're accepted to the program, your only cost for the books and the course fees, about $800 a year.
That sounds like an amazing opportunity. How can I learn more?
Just go to etajax.org, and you can apply there.
Apply by May 15th.
Hey, sports fans, this is Hays Carlyon from MyBookie. Our listeners have been killing it in a year full of surprises. MyBookie is the one book that's got your back. No fluff, no second guessing, just straight up action. Does your other sports book pay out when you push on a bet? MyBookie pays you back. And if you're new to the game and not sure where to start, we've got you covered. Step up, use our promo code 1010XL, and that'll double your bankroll with a 100% deposit bonus right from the jump. Here's a pro tip to get you rolling. The NFL teams with powerhouse offensive lines are dominating the run game this year, and betting game total unders has been printing money. Stack that with MyBookie's risk-free Thursdays, so why wait? There's a new risk-free odds boost every Thursday. To find the bet, click on the Bet Boost tab and scroll down. If it hits, you win. If it doesn't, MyBookie refunds your money. Sign up now. Get your double deposit bonus with promo code 1010XL, the best sign-up bonus for Florida bettors. Bet anything, anytime, anywhere with MyBookie.
Get off the ladder and put on the helmet with Gutter Helmet of North Florida. We are family-owned and manufactured locally. Cleaning your gutters is a dangerous and dirty job. That's why with Gutter Helmet, you'll never clean your gutters again. Water goes in your gutters while trash and debris go on the ground. It won't collect like filters do. Gutter Helmet protects.
Call now for 10% off and a free gutter cleaning and tune-up with your purchase of gutter helmet. Call 904-762-7779.
Hey folks, Dave Binion with Zero Res. I asked my wife what she wants for Christmas, and she said the same thing she does every year. She wants a clean home full of family and friends. That means the carpets, the tile and grout, the large oriental rug in our family room, and the huge sectional sofa that everyone loves to hang out on all need a good Zero Res cleaning. Give Zero Res a call and get your carpets cleaned for only $49 a room, and get your tile and grout cleaned for 25% off. Zero Res spelled forward or backwards, it's the right way to clean.
Zero Res.
When you roll into a convenience store for some cold Bud Light, you want to make sure it's, well, cold. Check out the big coolers at Circle K. They make sure it's chilled and ready to go for the big game or party. Swing by Circle K and pick up some cold Bud Light.
This is Dr. Michael Iorio, internal medicine physician for your Jacksonville Jaguars. Here's the latest update on the Jaguars, brought to you by Baptist Health and JOI.
Something that the offense would like to see improvements on is the rushing game. For a team whose offense has been unreliable, ranked 28th in total yards per game, it's very difficult to win games without running the football. They currently sit at 26th in the NFL in total rushing yards per game, with 98 on average. Here's Coach Doug Peterson talking about ways to improve the running game.
And you got to make those adjustments on the sideline too, during game, halftime, and then even during the week of practice. I think you can vet some things out in the run game as you watch film, as you practice, and really try to fine-tune it just a little bit more.
I'm Max Fink with your Jacksonville Orthopedic Institute Jaguars Update.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Now, the cool down from the cool guys at Donovan Air Electric and Plumbing. Fast, reliable, and honest service since '87.
All right, where have we been during the program today? Let's cover it quickly. We have talked certainly about Aaron Rodgers, the great Aaron Rodgers, 4-time NFL MVP, headed to Jacksonville to play the Jags this week. We certainly talked a great deal about that. Bill Belichick, it's official now, Hayes, on his way to North Carolina. It's clear now, 72-year-old Bill Belichick. Now I know what was wrong with Mac Brown at 71. Wasn't old enough.
That's right.
They wanted to get him more of an elder statesman.
Not enough savvy there.
We Brett Hastings stopped by to talk about these contracts between these collectives and the NIL and the players. And we did the State Farm College Football Report. Shane Matthews, Tom Block, and Joe Zagacki have checked in, and that is where we've been over the course of the program today. Bill Belichick's going to coach college at the University of North Carolina.
Well, I'll say this. It's going to be a disaster if he actually makes it there. Who's to say that? I don't think this will happen, but I don't think you can discount that he could be the North Carolina coach for like 4 weeks.
Yeah.
And then if the right owner comes along and offers him, again, I think it's remote.
Yeah.
But obviously this is the strangest hire that I think I've seen. We mentioned this last week when we got wind of it, that it would be one of the most stunning hires of my life. And I still am kind of shocked that there is obviously an incredibly good chance Bill Belichick is going to be coaching in the ACC. It's not going to work. It's sad because I think it's going to be, the last time we see Bill Belichick on a football field, it's going to be him losing 38-17 to NC State to go 4-8. And I think there's no chance this works. It'll be fascinating as a fan to see it, but I'm afraid of what it's going to look like at the end. And again, we'll see. We'll see once the NFL, once the carousel really kicks in, does somebody surprise us and call him out of the blue? And is he at North Carolina for basically a month before he's back in the NFL?
Welcome to the Bill Belichick, the Coach Belichick call-in show. Let's go to Bubba, who checked in now from Waynesville. I just want to be there, okay?
Yeah.
When Bubba checks in from Waynesville. That's what I want to do.
So he might be introduced. When do you guys play North Carolina in basketball? Or is that not a North Carolina home game?
It's in Charlotte.
It's in Charlotte, yeah.
Close enough.
Yeah.
Bring him out there.
It's close enough is right. So, hey, I want to make a point about the whole Pyburn thing. We never got to it today, but it stayed in the news. There's now conversation that he may change his mind and stay at Florida, that they're still quote-unquote negotiating. Tell me if you agree with this tonight. And again, I wish Jack Piper nothing but the best. He's a Jacksonville guy, and if it's time to move on, it's time to move on. But the Zach Alberverdi story came out where he's demanding $45,000 a month and wants to play more and play on third down. Whether that's accurate or not, and some people believe that number, that's not an accurate story. I don't know that Jack can stay now. I almost feel like, and I hate it for him because he, by all accounts, is a good kid and a hard worker. But because of whoever pushed him to do this, or whether he decided himself to do it, is he almost viewed as a pariah now, even if he stays?
I think without a doubt. I mean, I think the bridge is it's not burned, but it's
burning.
It's really, really hanging on by a thread. I think the only way it could work, because Florida has to get the message across to its current locker room and future locker rooms that we are not going to be manhandled in you're not going to be able to just demand more money, enter the portal, and then have us give you more money. Like, that's not going to work. It can't work. It can't work like that at the NFL level, and it certainly can't work that way in the collegiate level as everybody gets used to this new model of revenue sharing and NIL dollars. So, I mean, I think if you're Florida, the only way I think you could possibly make it work is if Pyburn takes whatever he was already being given, and Pyburn, and it's unfortunate, but apologizes to the team. And if he does that, then, yeah, maybe that can smooth things over with his teammates and with the coaching staff. But I would say at this point, because you are dealing with, I'd say, a good player, but probably not an elite player, I think as much as I like Jack Pyburn, and I give him a lot of credit for what he did for this Florida defense this year, for Florida's long-term health in terms of its culture, probably better to let him go play somewhere else.
Because it became too public. See, if it all stayed behind closed doors and they negotiated and he asked for this and more playing time and blah, 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 and it never became public, nobody would know. Probably happens all the time. But it became public. First, he released the Twitter thing, or the X thing, which is a very nice goodbye. Then he had a story on Instagram that was a little bit chirpy. He had the lyrics and thing and whatnot in it. And then all the word got out, like Zach wrote or tweeted, that all of the negotiating and the demands, whether they're true or not, that's how he's perceived now. If it had all been done quietly, he could have reversed his field. I think it'd be hard now. I think it'd be hard. See, one in the NFL, you only deal with two entities. They're grown-ups. They're married. So they have an agent, but the agent doesn't deal with the emotion of it. The agent is just the business guy. The emotion is just the player. Now, maybe the wife says, I want to live here, not there, but it's just the player and the agent representing him. But with college kids, they still live at home. Okay, college kids, when they're not in their dorms or wherever, they're living at home. That means the dad, the mom, the handler, the high school coach, whoever was the leader in that person still might speak for the kid. I can promise you, I coached baseball for 17 years, American Legion for a lot of those years, and that's some of the best players around. But you always deal with the parents too. So with a college kid, it's not just parents too, by the way. It could be high school coach. They all have their handlers. It could be someone that was close to a kid when he was in the third grade on. But you got to, sometimes that person can get in the kid's head. The pros don't have to deal with that. Pros have grown-ups. Now, maybe the wife has an opinion, but for the most part, it's not somebody that they've always looked up to swaying them. And I see that with so many college kids everywhere, that the handler, the coach, the parent, the uncle, the whoever gets involved. And so anyway, however this happened with Jack, like I said, I wish that hadn't happened. I was looking forward to watching Jack Pyburn play for the Gators next year. But even if he changes his mind, to me, just my opinion, I think it'd be hard.
It would be very hard. Now, I would imagine Jack Pyburn has a lot of credibility in the locker room because of how hard he plays and what he's meant to this team. But I think, again, if it would absolutely take an apology, because it's been a distraction, obviously.
It's been the most talked about thing in the offseason.
Yeah.
It's a short offseason.
And certainly the implications from that story are that Jack Pyburn feels like he's better than some of the guys that he's in that room with.
That's right.
So it would take an apology to the team, and it would take whatever he was getting from an NIL standpoint That's it. I mean, if I was Jack Pyburn and I really want to stay at Florida, I'd even go to them and say, look, I'll take less. I really want to be here. I'm so sorry that this happened, but I want to play here. I want to finish my career here. I want to walk out on senior day in the swamp to that ovation. I think the fences could be mended, but it's going to take everything on Pyburn's side to make that happen. And, I doubt he's going to be willing to do that. And if you're Billy Napier, you just can't have a player that this comes out and then they return and there not be consequences to it. Obviously, Florida's got a really good thing going with its culture and the harmony. And if you bring him back, and particularly if you give him more money, you are setting yourself up for a lot of headaches down the road.
He goes from being not same level player, but he goes from being Chris Doring, Tim Tebow, that grew up a Gator fan, and all they ever wanted to do was play for the Gators, and had the Gator alarm clock in their bedroom when they were in the first grade, and the guy that ends their career that way is adored forever by the fan base. And I think that even if he stays now, I don't know that you ever get that back. And so but anyway, and so we'll see what winds up happening. But again, Jack made his choice. I hope he does great. I'll say this: Jack Pyburn has earned his stripes, man. He works hard. He overcame an injury. Very, to your point, very respected, and he'll be very respected in the next locker room too. He's that kind of kid. There's no question.
You're starting at ground zero.
Yeah, but you are.
And if you get a soft tissue injury on the second day of practice, I mean, you get buried.
Yeah,
I mean, it's just you just don't have any. You don't have any credibility at that new place. I mean, you're a high priced player coming in. A lot's going to be expected. Maybe it'll go great. But the grass isn't always greener on the other side.
So we'll wind up seeing what happens as the portal continues along. And I do want to really follow the Luke Kromenhoek thing too, because that's another one. It's a different storyline. He didn't grow up a Seminole fan and all, but I really
and it almost feels like he's kind of getting almost pushed out.
Yeah,
which is idiotic on FSU's part. But it almost feels like from the people that you like.
Yeah.
Here, it's a Gus Malzahn. He doesn't fit the offense.
And I got to tell you, maybe I'm the biggest dummy in the room. Wouldn't be the first time, but I said this before. I think he's going to be a good player. I think he looks like an NFL guy to me. 6'4", 225.
If I was FSU, I'd have been fine with him being the starting quarterback as a true sophomore.
Yeah, but even Tom Block said today that he doesn't think next year would have been his year.
Yeah, I was surprised by that.
And again, all I know is I have not watched every play like I do Florida. I'm not going to misrepresent this. But my goodness, he looked like a good-looking player.
And if you're Mike Norvell, you probably still aren't getting fired if it goes bad again next year.
I agree.
Because they're not going to pay you $50 million to walk away at Florida State. So you really probably have the 25 and 26 season. Well, so go with Kromenhoek in 25, and I think he probably plays pretty well for you. But then in 26, you've got a guy with a ton of experience that is in his third year and could be a superstar. I thought it was very puzzling.
We do have more quarterback news before the end of the show.
Please.
Garrett Nussmeier going back to LSU.
How about that? Good for him, by the way. That surprises me because I thought he would have crept into the first round. But you know what?
Maybe the back half. Yeah.
It would, if at all, the back half. But he's a good player.
That's big for LSU.
That is big for LSU. He's a damn good player. And I mean, LSU had a lot of flaws. He wasn't one of them, man.
He was certainly one of the best quarterbacks to be coming back next year.
Yeah, boy, he absolutely is. Good news. I'm glad you brought that up. Folks, that's our program. We're out of here. But don't go anywhere. Rick Ballou goes into the night right now. For Hays and JJ, I'm Frank Frangie. So long.